Upgrade your worm fishing game. Tips for more bites and better results. Intro. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I've got something special for all the anglers out there. If you are using worms as bait and not getting bites, it's time for an upgrade. Worms are a staple in fishing, but they're not always as effective as people think. Stick around, and I'll show you how to get more action with some simple tricks. Part 1: Why freshness matters. Let's start with the basics. Freshness. Worms are often called the ultimate bait, but here's the deal: they lose their effectiveness if they're not fresh. Once they've been on the hook too long, they lose their liveliness and no longer attract fish. The key is keeping your worms active. Make sure to change them out when they lose their wiggle. If the bite is slow, having a fresh, wiggling worm on the hook can make all the difference. Also, don't crush the worms when hooking them. That's a common mistake. And remember, the size of the worm should match the hook size. Too much worm hanging off the hook can lead to fish nibbling on the wrong part and not getting hooked. Part 2: Upgrade your worm fishing methods. Now, let's talk about some upgraded methods. Worms can be super effective on their own, but there are ways to make them even more irresistible to fish. 1. The powder dip trick. One way to upgrade is by dipping your worms in powder bait. When you hook the worm, coat it in a powdery bait like roasted soybean flour. When the worm hits the water, the powder dissolves, releasing a scent trail that attracts fish. This method works best in cooler months: fall, winter, and spring, but it's not as effective when the water's warm. If you don't have soybean flour, you can try other powders, but this is one of the easiest and most affordable options. 2. Clove oil magic. Here's a trick that a lot of pro anglers use: clove oil. The scent of clove is incredibly effective for attracting fish like carp. To make this work, heat some sesame oil and mix in dried cloves. Let it cool and sit for about a week. Then, before you head out, put a few drops of this clove oil in your worm container. It'll enhance the worm's scent and attract more fish. Just don't go overboard with the oil, just a few drops is plenty. 3. Worm paste for weedy areas. Here's a secret that not many people know: you can create a worm paste by mixing wheat gluten with worm powder or crushed worms. This paste, often called worm goo, works wonders in areas with weeds or aquatic plants. It's a great way to attract fish like carp or other bottom dwellers. Part 3: Targeting bigger fish. Worms are great for smaller fish like perch, sunfish, and even smaller carp, but what about the big guys? The truth is, big fish don't always go for worms unless the conditions are right. Worms are best when the water is cooler, as fish tend to go for high-protein food in those temperatures. If you're fishing in murky or fast-moving water, worms can still be your best bet, since they're not easily washed away like other bait. Pro tip: after a heavy rain, fishing in flooded areas can be super productive. These areas are like a buffet for fish, and worms are one of the best baits to use. Whether you're after carp, catfish, or grass carp, worms can land you a catch. Part 4: Seasonal worm strategies. When is the best time to use worms? In spring and fall, when fish are most active, worms tend to be your best option. Fish are out there feeding heavily, and they'll happily gobble up a fresh, wiggling worm. And here's a budget-friendly tip: worm powder is cheap and super effective. If you're fishing late in the fall, add some worm powder to your bait mix. It works on nearly every species, and it won't break the bank. Conclusion. So, that's how to take your worm fishing to the next level. Whether it's keeping them fresh, using powders, or experimenting with clove oil, these simple upgrades can seriously increase your chances of landing fish. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your favorite worm fishing tricks. I'd love to hear what works best for you. Until next time, tight lines and happy fishing. Outro. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Catch you next time.